Hello, welcome to this brand new episode of The Analyst by Vajiram and Ravi dated 28th April 2024. Today we will be discussing 5 important topics that are very relevant for your exam that has appeared in the today's The Hindu and the Indian Express. The first topic that we will be dealing is related to the phenomena of glass ceiling. After that, we will be moving towards a very important topic, the forest fire and related issues. After that, we will be moving towards our third topic, that is freebies, which has been in news due to recent election campaigning. After that, we will be moving towards the next topic, that is disaster relief funds. Then our next topic will be Red Sea and related bordering countries. At the end, we will be looking into some prelims snippets that will help you in excelling the upcoming prelims exam. So let's move towards our first topic, that is glass ceiling. The context of this particular topic is the recent appointment of first woman vice chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University. The name of the Vice Chancellor is Professor Naima Khatoon. After its establishment in the last 100 years, this is the first time when a female Vice Chancellor is being appointed in Aligarh Muslim University. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS1, role of women and women organization under the larger theme of social issues. So, I want to ask a question to you. Can you name the second female Prime Minister of India? And can you name the first female Governor of Reserve Bank of India? Well, you cannot, because after Mrs. Indira Gandhi, there hasn't been any second female Prime Minister in India. And since its inception in the year 1935, Reserve Bank of India does not have any female governor. So, one of the explanation that we can provide for that is due to the phenomena of glass ceiling, which is an invisible barrier that prevents women from rising beyond a certain level in a hierarchy. Let's try to understand this hierarchy in a corporate setup. So, this is a hierarchy. Generally, at the lower level, first line employees are there. Then here mid-level management is there. Here the top level management positions are there. Under this first line employees, the associates are there, senior associates are there, whereas in the mid-level management, the team lead, manager, senior manager, regional managers are there. Whereas in top level management, there is vice president, chief executive officer, chief operating officers, chief financial officer, etc. are the positions that are considered under the top level management. So as per this phenomena of glass ceiling, women have access to mid-level managerial positions, but there is an invisible barrier or glass ceiling that prevents women from accessing these top-level managerial positions. This is a report by United Nations which says that glass ceiling still keeps women in support of management positions, but they do not allow them to strategic management positions or top-level management positions. The survey they have done, according to that survey, 28% of managers are women in the world and only 18% of chief executive officers of the world are women. When we move from economic arena to political arena, condition further deteriorates. The women have only participation of 36% in the local government, whereas it further declines to 25% participation in national parliaments of the world. Now, moving from world story to the story of India. The story of India, there is a study by Edelgive Foundation which says only 100 out of 2000 companies that are listed on the National Stock Exchange have the women as in the role of chief executive officers. And when we move towards the political arena, only 14% of the member of parliament in India are females, which shows the abysmal conditions of women representation in both economic arena and political arena. Now, let's try to understand what are the causes of this glass ceiling. So, the first cause is the societal biases and stereotypes, the deep-rooted patriarchy in the society, the stereotyping that women are soft, women are gentle, they are emotional, they can't handle top-level managerial positions. These are the some stereotype and biases that prevent women from undertaking the top-level managerial positions. Apart from the unequal distribution of domestic labor. Just think of our own homes. When we want to have tea, when we want to have some good food, or when we want our clothes to be ironed, whom do we call? We call generally to our mothers, wives, or our sisters. This prevents them from giving time to their employment, which further diminishes their chances in reaching the higher positions in the top levels. Then the hostile work environment is the third cause that we can say for the glass ceiling. The cases of sexual harassment. The third case that will be moving is the hostile work environment. The cases of sexual harassment at workplaces. The cases of women exploitation at workplaces. These all also generate a feeling that the outside employment opportunities are not very good for the women. That also create a sense of self-doubt among women, and that also prevent them from accessing the further top level positions. The fourth phenomena, the lack of role model, where we can say the women feel a kind of imposter syndrome, where they do not have a role model to follow. They in a kind of have a feeling of self-doubt, the lack of confidence, that they cannot fulfill the demand of those top level positions. So these were the some of the causes of these glass ceiling phenomena. Now, what are the effects of glass ceiling? The first effect is the economic loss. According to a World Bank study, it says that full women participation can lead to $700 billion increase in the GDP by 2025. So, when half of the population is not fully participating in the economic sphere, it is leading to a high loss to the GDP. Then, it will also lead to policy myopia. When the second effect is the policy myopia, when half of the population is not even participating in the making of legislation, how can we even think that a broad-based legislation inclusive of women can be made? So, it can lead to a policy making where women's interests are not being addressed. Then it also lead to psychological impacts. Women have a feelings of stress, self-doubt, and this further leads to their cases of suicides also in women's. Reduced innovation. When women is not participating in the economic, political and other dimensions of the country, the innovative ideas that they can bring is being out of the system. For example, recently reduced innovation. When half of the population is not completely participating in the policy making, in the economic sphere, it leads to innovative ideas not being coming into the system. For example, recently the first woman chief of the SEBI, Mr. Madhuri Puri was appointed. After coming up into the system, after becoming the chief of SEBI, she brought some new ideas that led to increased investor confidence. That led to reduced malpractices that has been being followed in the SEBI. So this innovative ideas can be brought when women will be at the higher level managerial positions. So what should be the way forward? What are the changes that we should be doing? First of all, the policy changes that are needed. There can be a system of quota or reservation for the top level managerial positions for the women that can help in increasing the presence of women. Then shifting cultural norms. Generally, we have a tendency that childbearing and rearing both are the work of women. But why can't it be possible that after bearing a child, women will work and the men will take care of the children. This is also a possibility. So there is a need to change our attitudes. There is a need to change our behaviors towards women. There is a strong need for understanding the importance of utilizing full capability of a woman. Then there is a need for a transparent promotion policy where the promotions are being given through an objective criteria. That will also help in dealing with this issue of glass ceiling. And last, there is need for proper mentorship and sponsorship programs that can be organized by the private organization. That will also help in motivating the women in coming into the further employment arenas. We will be moving towards our second topic, that is the issue of forest fire. The context of this particular topic is the massive forest fire that is sweeping through forests surrounding Nainital in Uttarakhand. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS1 Indian Geography and syllabus of your GS3 Environmental Pollution and Degradation Disaster Management. So now let's move towards the understanding the basic aspects of the forest fire. Forest fire can be defined as an unplanned, uncontrolled and unpredictable fire in an area of combustible vegetation. As per the report of ISFR 2021, which is brought by the Forest Survey of India, 35.47% of the total forest cover in India is prone to the forest fires. There are three major determinants of the fires generally. One is the oxygen, second is the heat and third is the fuel. In forest, there is ample amount of oxygen is present. The fuel is provided by the dry leaves and other dry products like branches etc. that are available. The heat is being provided both by natural phenomena and anthropogenic factors. Natural phenomena like the rubbing of bamboo trees, like due to the weather related heats, the anthropogenic phenomena like throwing of cigarette butts etc. The heat can be provided through these phenomena. So this combination of oxygen, fuel and heat leads to the fire, and it also leads to the forest fires. There are three types of generally forest fire. The classification of forest fire are the ground fire, the surface fire and the ground fire. So the ground fire is generally fast to spread, but they can be easily doused. But when we come to the surface fire, it is more than the surface fire. Apart from the upper layer where dry leaves etc. are present, organic matter also catches fire. There can be many times where we can't have a visible flames through our eyes, but smoke is coming out of those surface. So here the surface fire is very tough to douse. It is very difficult to find out source of the fire. And the third type of fire is the crown fire, where the upper branches of the trees catch fire and it spreads very quickly. It becomes very difficult to douse these crown fires. Now, moving towards the causes of forest fires. The first is the natural causes or the natural factors. First is the weather conditions like high temperature, which leads to easily catching fires. For example, two bamboo trees are rubbing onto each other. That can lead to spark and it can lead to the further fires. The arid weather also helps in the increasing the forest fires. Apart from this, the dry biomass availability in the form of dry leaves, pine needles etc. also act as a catalyst for these forest fires. The second, we will be dealing with the anthropogenic causes. The first cause is the human carelessness. For example, throwing of cigarette butts without thinking twice. For example, someone have camped in one of the forests, they have enjoyed through bonfires and ultimately left those bonfires without completely dousing that fire. That will also lead to issues of forest fires. Then agricultural practices where mainly shifting cultivation is involved, like jhum cultivation etc. also sometimes spread at a much faster rate and it come to the forest and leads to the forest fires. Now we will be moving towards the government initiatives. The first initiative is the Forest Fire Prevention and Management Scheme. This is the only comprehensive scheme that is state sponsored, and here It comprehensively tackles the issue of forest fire. It helps in procurement of several firefighting equipments. It also provides financial assistance for the capacity building of the forest officials. Then the second initiative is the National Action Plan for the Forest Fires, which is a comprehensive plan where a collaborative approach is followed between the community and the forest official. Here, awareness generation is given to the community to ensure they help in the forest official at the time of forest fires. Then the third initiative is the Green Guards program, which the main aim of this is training and equipping local youth as green guards to assist forest department in fire prevention and control activities. Now, we will be moving towards the mitigation measures. The first measure is the strict enforcement of regulation. Regulation like banning of stubble burning, banning of shifting cultivation, etc. should be strictly followed. That will help in preventing the forest fires. Then, the early detection system or the early warning systems can be installed, where a sensor based system that can help in giving the early warnings for the forest fires. Then the implementation of fuel reduction strategies can also be followed. For example, what was the fuel that was being provided in the forest fire? It was the dry leaves, dry biomass. So what can we do? We can remove these dry leaves and dry biomass beforehand, and it can help in reducing the forest fire incidents. Then the last but not the least, the awareness generation is also needs to be done to the people, to the forest officials, and to everyone to ensure a proper forest ecosystem can be maintained. Now, let's move towards the third topic, that is topic of freebies. The context of this particular topic is domination of freebie promises by several political parties in recent election campaigning. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your GS2 important aspects of governance, transparency and accountability. So, let's understand the background first. A freebie is a public welfare measure that is provided free of charge. This is a definition given by the Reserve Bank of India. The rationale behind giving these freebies is the long-term benefits. What can be long-term benefit? For example, if we consider laptops, bicycles, etc. as the freebies. So there has been a study by Niti Aayog where it has came to observation that when the bicycles were given to the women, the dropout rates has decreased. The women participation in employment have increased. So freebies do help in long-term benefits. Then now we will see the advantages of freebies. The first advantage is the economic growth and development. For example, the laptop is given to the youth of Uttar Pradesh by state government. So when these laptops have been given, it will help in these students in study. It will help in these students in finding some employment opportunities. So when this youth will become part of this economy, it will lead to an improved economic indicators. It will help in improving the educational and health indicators, and a vicious cycle will create, which will lead to a overall economic development. Then the public welfare. The freebies also serve a greater purpose of public welfare. For example, there was a study by Niti Aayog which says that the public distribution system where the grains are provided to some people at a lower cost and to few sections of the society freely, this public distribution system helped in reducing poverty ratio by 7% in 2011-12. Then another example is that these freebies also help in reducing the income inequality. The income inequality have been very much as also quoted by the Oxfam report and World Inequality report. So these freebies do help in reducing the inequality. How? For example, there was a farmer A. He had outstanding loan of 1 lakh crore. Now, he was already very depressed, already in a lot of debt burden due to its low agricultural productivity, low income, etc. When government provides loan waiver, he kind of get relaxed. The income that he will be generating can be utilized for for improving the educational avenues, for improving the health avenues. So yes, freebies do help in reducing the income inequality. Now, let's see what are the disadvantages of the freebies. First is the high fiscal burden. These freebies are being financed through the taxpayers' money. So when these freebies are given, it leads to a lot of fiscal burden on the state exchequer. For example, cost of freebies announced by the states in 2022 to 2023 as percentage of states GDP is 2.7% in Punjab, 2.1% in Andhra Pradesh, and subsequently for other states also. So a major part of states revenue is being utilized for financing this fiscal burden. It leads to reduction in availability of money. It leads to declining of availability of money for further avenues, for further capital expenditure and other things. It also leads to rising state debt to GDP ratio. For example, this is a data of 21-22. Here, the debt to GDP ratio in Punjab was 53.3%, which is very high. So these freebies further increase the debt to GDP ratio for the states. Then another disadvantage is the freebies also create a syndrome named dependency syndrome, where the people will be in a way dependent on the government freebies. For example, they have a tendency of not submitting all the loans that they have taken, where people will have a tendency to be dependent more on the freebie goods. For example, free electricity, free water, free television, etc. that has been promised in recent elections in some states, etc. So people will be more dependent on freebies. Then these freebies are also against the free and fair elections, because the electoral mandate, the election will be determined by these freebies. This will influence the voters' behavior. So this is also one of the disadvantage of the freebies. Then freebies also leads to environmental degradation. Why? For example, Punjab and Haryana government provides electricity subsidy to the farmers, and the main source of irrigation is the pump set that they extract from the groundwater. So these free subsidies that are given to the farmers leading to the groundwater depletion and further environmental degradation. In Punjab and Haryana, the groundwater extraction stands at 161% and 134% against the national average of 61%, which can be linked to the subsidies that are being provided to the farmers. Now, let's see what should be the way forward. First, there should be a need to balance between the freebies and the welfare measures. The Constitution of India has provided directive principles of state policy, which states for the welfare measures that should be provided to the people of India. But they should not be in the form of freebies like free television sets. So, there should be a balance between freebies and the welfare measures. Then there is need for empowering the Election Commission of India so that they can be tackle this menace of freebies. For example, recently the Election Commission of India has proposed that the political parties, what are they promising in their election manifesto, that should be based on the latest budgetary expenditure, revenues, fiscal deficit and all things. Apart from that, Election Commission of India also proposed that the political parties should declare if the financial gaps that are need to be addressed to fund those freebies will be financed by increasing the taxes or further new tax hikes or the asset monetization or rationalization of expenditure or through additional borrowings, because this will help in ensuring some accountability to these political parties. Apart from this, there is need for a political consensus between all the state and national political parties where the menace of freebies should be done away with. then there is need for voter awareness also. They should understand that the freebies that they are getting, they are not completely free, but they are being financed in one or another form through taxpayers' money, in which that person is also a part of. This was all about the freebies. Now we will move towards the next topic, that is Disaster Relief Fund. The context of this particular topic is the recent release of disaster relief funds to the Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your UPSC Prelims Polity and Governance, and then syllabus of GS2 mains, where it says the functions and responsibilities of the union and the states, issue and challenges pertaining to the federal structure, and syllabus of your mains GS3 disaster management. So, Disaster Management Act 2005 was passed, where it led to setup of NDRF at the center level and SDRF at the state level. Now, through this section 48 subclause 1 subclause A, the states have been provided with State Disaster Response Fund, which is the primary fund available with the state government. Now, as per the section 46 of the Disaster Management Act 2005, the NDRF supplements the State Disaster Response Fund in case of disaster of severe nature, provided adequate funds are not available in the SDRF. So, under this mechanism, what happens? The NDRF supplements states with 75% of funds if they are general category states, whereas the NDRF supplements 90% of funds to the SDRF contribution if the states are northeastern states or the special category states, we can say, where some states are from the hilly areas. Now, let's understand what is the process of release of funds. First of all, there is evaluation of situation, which is done by Ministry of Home Affairs or Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. They evaluate the situation and the damage that has been done by the disasters. Then there is a formation of interministerial central team, which consists of various secretaries from the different departments of the government. Then there is a national executive committee that will determine the amount of funding that will be made available to those states. This is also generally chaired by one of the officers of the central government. Then there is a high level committee which is chaired by Minister of Home Affairs, which authorize the release of NDRF funds based on the recommendation provided. One more thing that I want to emphasize here, that these funds are not completely limited to natural disaster only, but it can be given for any of man-made disaster like terrorist attacks, etc. Now we will be moving towards our next topic, that is Red Sea. The context of this particular topic is recent missile fires by the Houthi rebels in the Panama flag tankers in the Red Sea. This particular topic pertains to syllabus of your UPSC prelims, world geography and mapping. So let's see the Red Sea. This is Red Sea, which is a semi-enclosed inlet or extension of the Indian Ocean between the continents of Africa and Asia. It is connected to the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean to the south. The Red Sea is connected to the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean to the south through the Gulf of Aden and a narrow strait named Bab al-Mandeb. Apart from this, the northern portion is bifurcated by the Sinai Peninsula into the Gulf of Aqaba and the Gulf of Suez. Through this, we can go towards the Mediterranean Sea. Now, let's see what are the bordering countries of the Red Sea. I want to give a trick to remember the bordering countries of the Red Sea, where the trick is Daisy loves Red Sea. Here D stands for Djibouti, E stands for Egypt, S stands for Saudi Arabia, the next S stands for the Sudan, then E stands for Eritrea, and Y stands for Yemen. So these are the 6 countries that are bordering the Red Sea. This information can be important and can be asked in your upcoming prelims exam. Now we will be looking into the prelims snippets that will help you in your prelims preparation. The first topic here will be the dengue, which is a mosquito-borne viral infection and primarily caused by the female Aedes aegypti mosquito. For the dengue, there is no as such specific treatment is given, but over-the-counter medicines are given for treatments of symptoms. The dengue vaccine named CYD-TDV or Dengavaxia was approved by US Food and Drug Administration in 2019. So, this is the first vaccine that has been made available for the dengue virus. So, this is one of the piece of information that may be helpful for your prelims exam. Now, moving towards the next topic, that is consular access, which implies the ability of citizens of a country to have a communication with the diplomats and officers of their country while held in foreign location. For example, many of you would be knowing the case of Kulbhushan Jadhav, who was not being provided the consular access, where India has also approached the ICJ for providing the consular access to the Kulbhushan Jadhav. Is there any institutional framework that is provided for consular access? Yes. Under the rules of Vienna Convention or Consular Relation of 1963, the Article 36 of this particular treaty states that foreign nationals who are arrested or detained be given notice without delay of their right to have their embassy or consulate notified of that arrest. To sum up, what they say is that whenever a foreign national is being arrested in any of the foreign country, they have the right to be consulted with any of the officer of the diplomat that is posted in that country of that person's home country. So this was basics about the consular access. Now the next topic that we will be dealing is the Central Bureau of Investigation or the CBI. The establishment of CBI was recommended by Santhanam Committee, which was a committee for the prevention of corruptions, and this committee was set up between 1962 to 64. The first important information that you have to keep in mind that Central Bureau of Investigation or CBI is not a statutory body because it has not been set up by any of the act of the parliament, but it derives its powers from the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946. The CBI is also the nodal agency for the Interpol in India. The motto of CBI is industry, impartiality and integrity. And next, the most important information that you people often get confused. There is a feeling that Central Bureau of Investigation comes under the Ministry of Home Affairs, which is wrong. The nodal ministry for Central Bureau of Investigation is Ministry of Personal, Public Grievances and Pensions. Now we will be moving towards our last topic, that is ICT levy, which is the full form of ICT, as you know, Information and Communication Technology. So, India wants to promote its manufacturing industry, especially the industry related to the mobile phones, cameras, electronic integrated circuits and all those. So, many countries including the Chinese Taipei, EU and other countries have approached the WTO that this ICT import duty that India is levying is against the WTO norms. But India said that products are part of WTO's Information Technology Products ITA 2 agreement and New Delhi is not part of this agreement. So, these WTO rules does not apply to the India. India is part of ITA 1 agreement which India signed in 1997. So this was basics about the ICT levy or ICT import duty. That was all from my side for today. Thank you for joining this session. All the very best.